Good morning, students. Today, we are going to study about triple five timer as a monostable multivibrator. In the previous classes, you have studied about the pin diagram of triple five timer and as well as the functional block diagram of the triple five timer of the pin IC pin, right? And how the monostable multivibrator acts as a triple five timer. Uh, we'll see in today's class. Okay, and what do you mean by a monostable multivibrator? A monostable multivibrator is also called as a one-shot multivibrator because it is having only one stable state. Okay, and this monostable multivibrator is a pulse generating circuit in which the duration of the pulse is determined by the RC network connected externally to the triple five timer. Okay, and the diagram or circuit diagram of the monostable multivibrator looks like this. The input or trigger input is applied to pin number 2 and pin number 8 and 4 are connected to the plus VCC terminal. Pin number 4, as you know, it is a reset pin, and through these two pins, the resistance RA is connected externally to the triple five circuit, and as well as pin number 6 and 7 are shorted out, and this is the discharging capacitor that has been shown here, and pin number 1 and 5 are shorted with a capacitor of 0.01 microfarad. In this way, the triple five timer as a monostable multivibrator can be connected as a circuit diagram that can be connected here. Okay, and here in this triple five timer, as I already told you, it is a one-shot multivibrator, and the duration of the pulse is determined by the RC network connected externally to the our circuit. This is our RC network connected, which has been connected externally to our triple five timer IC. Okay, and now in a stable or you can say standby state, the output of the circuit is approximately zero. Okay, in stable or you can say standby state, the output of the circuit is approximately equal to zero, or you can say at logic low level. The output of this circuit is at low level. When an external trigger pulse is applied, okay, when an external trigger pulse, that is at pin number 2, is applied, the output is forced to go high. Okay, whenever we will apply and trigger input pulse, what is going to happen? The output is forced to go high, that is almost equal to nearly equal to VCC. The time the output remains the time the output remains high is determined by the external RC network. Okay, the time the output remains high is determined by the external R and C network connected to the our triple five timer. Okay, at the end of the timing interval, you are having some timing interval. The output, what is going to happen? The output automatically reverts back to its logic low level state. Okay, at the end of the timing interval, the output automatically reverts back to its logic low low stable state. Okay, therefore the output stays low until the trigger pulse is again applied. Okay, this output will stay at in a low state until once again the trigger pulse is applied. Okay, then the cycle repeats in the similar fashion. The monostable circuit has only one stable state. This monostable circuit has only one stable state, that is output low state. Okay, and hence the name monostable state. Okay, you can say therefore normally the output of the monostable multivibrator is low. Okay, now we'll look into the how the internal diagram of triple five timer as a monostable multivibrator that has been connected. So these are the corresponding pin and how the internal block diagram of the IC 555 timer as a monostable multivibrator will work. Okay, it mainly consists of two comparator and a flip-flop and output stage and a transistor and another transistor Q1, one transistor Q1 and another transistor Q2. That is for Q2, a reset is applied at the base, and this is how it has been a 555 timer connected as a monostable multivibrator. That is the internal block, the internal diagram of the monostable multivibrator. Okay, and to better explanation of this circuit, we should know how the internal block diagram is included and how it works. We will see one by one and according to this internal block diagram. Before proceeding with the operation of this 555 timer as a monostable multivibrator, and it is important to examine its pin functions. As I said, pin number 6 is threshold, pin number 5 is control voltage, and pin number 4 is reset, and pin number 2 is trigger, pin number 7 is discharge pin, and pin number 1 is ground, pin number 3 is output. Okay, and pin number 8 is VCC, right? And in this way, the 555 timer can be connected. Okay, and now we'll see the operation of 555 timer as a monostable multivibrator. So first, initially assume that when the output is low. Okay, so suppose when the output is low, that is the circuit is in stable state. Okay, when the output is low, the circuit is said to be in stable state. At that time, this is a transistor Q1. Okay, this transistor Q1 is on, and this capacitor, what we have connected, capacitor C is shorted out to the ground. Okay, with the transistor. Okay, so when initially when the output is low, this output is low or in the stable state, the transistor Q1 is on and capacitor C is shorted out to the ground. Okay, this is the first condition. And now when you will apply, as soon as you will apply a negative trigger pulse to pin number 2. Okay, as soon as you will apply a negative triggering pulse to pin 2, transistor Q1 is turned off. Okay, this transistor Q1 is turned off, and therefore it will disconnect with this capacitor. Okay, the capacitor, or you can say which releases the short circuit across your external capacitor. Whenever this transistor Q1 is turned off, that will release the short circuit of across the external capacitor C. Okay, and that what it will make then, and drives the output to high state. Okay, and that will drives the output to high state. Okay, and then the capacitor C now starts charging. Okay, at this time the capacitor C starts charging up towards VCC. Okay, this capacitor starts charging towards VCC through this resistance RA and as well as the C. Okay, the capacitor starts charging. Capacitor starts charging up towards VCC and through RA. Okay. However, when the voltage across the capacitor equal to 2/3 VCC. Okay, when the capacitor voltage across the capacitor equals to 2/3 of VCC, then what happens? The comparator 1 output. Okay, the comparator 1 output switches from low to high. Okay, this comparator 1 output switches from low to high, which in turn drives the output, which in turn drives the output to low state via the output of the flip flop. Okay, this is that will switches to the drives our output to low state via the output of the our flip flop. Okay, I will once again repeat the thing. When the voltage across the capacitor is equal to 2/3 VCC, comparator 1's output, this is comparator 1, this is comparator 2, the comparator 1's output switches from low to high. Then this is going to be that switches from low to high, and in turn drives the output to its low state, okay, to the via the output of the flip flop. Okay, that will make the output low. Okay, at the same time the output of the flip flop turns that this time what going to happen, at the same time the output of the flip flop turns this transistor Q1 once again on. Okay, Q1 on. Okay, and hence at this time the capacitor C rapidly discharges through the transistor. This capacitor discharges through the transistor. Okay, the output of the monostable, the output of this monostable remains low. Okay, it will remains low. The output of the monostable transistor remains low until a trigger pulse is again applied. Then the cycle repeats. Okay, then the cycle repeats and the trigger input, output voltage and capacitor voltage waveforms are shown as shown in the figure. Okay, these are the trigger input, output waveform, and as well as the capacitor voltage. Okay, here the pulse width. Okay, here the pulse width Tp, or you can say this is the pulse width of the trigger input, must be smaller than the expected pulse width of the output waveform. Okay, this you can say the pulse width of the trigger input, the pulse width of the our trigger input, this trigger input must be smaller than the expected pulse width of the output. Okay, waveform. The trigger pulse must be a negative going. This is a negative going input signal with an amplitude larger than the 1/3 VCC. The time during which the output remains high is given by the pulse width, that is Tp is equal to 1.1 into Ra into C seconds. Okay, the time during which the output remains high is given by Tp is equal to 1.1 Ra times C into seconds. Okay, where that Ra is in terms of ohms and C is in terms of farads. Okay, and once triggered, the circuit output will remains in the high state. Okay, once triggered, the output, the circuit output will remains in the high state. Okay, once it has been triggered, the output will remain in the high state until the our set time, that is Tp pulse width, that is Tp elapses. The output will not change its state even if an input trigger is applied again during this time interval Tp. Okay, however, the circuit can be reset during the timing cycle by applying a negative pulse to the reset terminal. The output will remain in the low state. Okay, this output will remain in the low state after the completion of this Tp. Okay, remains in the low state until another negative trigger pulse is again applied. Until a negative trigger pulse is again applied. Okay, and this is how it works as a monostable multivibrator. So this is the trigger input, and the trigger is applied, the output becomes high and it will remains until a time period, you can say Tp that is equal to 1.1 into Ra into C times, and it will remain slow until the negative triggering pulse is once again applied to this input, and then this is the capacitor voltage across the our triggering pulse or output waveform. So during the high, it is going to charging of the capacitor, whereas this time it is the discharging time of the capacitor. So charging and discharging occurs according to the our pulse width or TP, time of the output waveform. Okay, and in this way the monostable operation can be done. Okay, and this is regarding monostable multi vibrator. Okay, so now next we'll see the 555 timer can also be used as a stable multi vibrator. Okay, a stable multi vibrator is also called as pre-running multi vibrator. Okay, a stable multi vibrator is also called as pre-running multi vibrator, and it is sometimes also called as rectangular wave generating circuit. So why it has been called a stable multi vibrator? This circuit does not require any external trigger to change the state of the output. Okay, in the previous monostable, we need to apply a triggering pulse to our circuit, but in case of a stable multi vibrator, we don't want to apply any external trigger to change the state of the output. Hence, the name is also this stable multi vibrator is also called as free running multi vibrator. Okay, this is also called as free running multi vibrator. But the time during which the output is either high or low is determined by the two resistor and a capacitor. Once again here, that is the time during which the output is either high or low. Here there is no stable state, and hence it is called as a stable multi vibrator. The time during which the output is either high or low is determined by the two resistor and a capacitor that are externally connected to the 555 timer. So this is the circuit diagram for the 555 timer as a stable multi vibrator. And you just observe the figure. This is as similar to our monostable multi vibrator. Here an extra resistor RB is connected to our stable multi vibrator, and we'll see how this is going to work. This stable multi vibrator, we'll see it. Okay, and as I said, as in the monostable multi vibrator, this circuit does not require any external trigger to change the state of the output. Okay, to change the state of the output, that is either high or low, and that is determined by the two resistors RA and RB and a capacitor, which are externally connected to our 555 timer. Right now, this as shown in this figure, the 555 is connected as an unstable multi vibrator. What is going to happen here? Initially, when the output is high, okay, when this output is high, the capacitor start charging towards VCC. Okay, when initially the output is high, then what is going to happen? The capacitor is going to start charging towards VCC. Okay, it is going to charge towards VCC through this RA. Okay, through this RA and as well as RB. Okay, this capacitor is going to charge through RA, RB and towards VCC through RA, RB. Okay, and as soon as voltage across the capacitor is equal to 2/3 VCC. Okay, whenever this voltage across this capacitor is equal to 2/3 VCC, then once again, and as you have seen in the internal block diagram, the comparator 1 triggers the flip-flop. Okay, the comparator 1 triggers the flip-flop and our output switches low. Okay, then our output switches low. Okay, our output switches low, and as I said, now the capacitor C starts discharging. Okay, the capacitor C starts discharging through RB and transistor Q1. Okay, the capacitor starts discharging through RB and as well as the transistor Q1. That is internal block diagram, internal diagram of the our 555 timer as a monostable multivibrator. You have seen here just another resistor, that is RB, is connected here. Okay, and that is how the monostable multivibrator will work. Stable multivibrator, that means this stable multivibrator is going to work. Okay, when the voltage across the capacitor equal to 1/3 VCC. Okay, when the voltage across the capacitor is equal to 1/3 VCC, the comparator 2's output triggers the flip-flop. Okay, that will triggers the flip-flop and the output goes high. Okay, once again the output goes high, then the cycle repeats, the output voltage and capacitor output goes high, and then once again cycle repeats and the output voltage and as well as the capacitor voltage waveforms are shown here in the figures. Okay, and as shown in this figure, the capacitor is periodically changed, or you can say periodically charged between what? Charged and discharged. Okay, and charged and discharged between 2/3 VCC and 1/3 VCC respectively. The time during which the capacitor charges from 1/3 VCC to 2/3 VCC is equal to the time the output is high, and that is given by the charging capacitor, that is TC is equal to 0.69 RA plus RB into C. Call this as equation number 1. Okay, similarly, where once again here the parameters, the RA and RB are in terms of ohms and C is in terms of farads. Similarly, the time during which the capacitor discharges, the time during which the capacitor discharges from 2/3 VCC to 1/3 VCC is equal to the time the output is low and is given by 0.69 times RB into C. Call this as equation number 2, because it is discharging through resistance RB, and hence we have taken into account of the RB resistance here for the discharging capacitance. Okay, and once again here also RB in terms of ohms and C is in terms of farads, and now the total time period of the output waveform is, you can say, the total time period of the output waveform is nothing but it is the charging time of the capacitor, charging time plus discharging time, or on period or off period of the our output. Okay, and hence adding equation number 1 and 2, we are going to get 0.69 into RA plus 2RB into C. Call this as equation number 3. Okay, thus in turn that will give the frequency of oscillations as per the equation, that is, as you know, the frequency of oscillation can be calculated is equal to 1 over the time period, and hence using equation number 3, it is equal to 1.45 divided by RA plus 2RB into C. Okay, and this equation number 4 indicates that the frequency F0 is independent of the supply voltage VCC. Okay, it is the frequency F0 is independent of the supply voltage VCC, and the frequency of oscillation of F0 can also be found by using the equations. Okay, and now One more term we can calculate in the for the stable multivibrator, that is called as duty cycle. Okay, one more term we can call it as a duty cycle. How we can calculate the duty cycle? It is this is mainly the duty cycle is used is the word mainly used with the stable multivibrator. The duty cycle is the ratio of time Tc. Okay, it is the ratio of time Tc during which the output is high to the total time period T. Okay, total time period T. Okay, and it is generally expressed as in terms of percentage. Okay, it is generally expressed in terms of percentage, and in the form of equation you can calculate the percentage of duty is equal to on period or charging time period, that is Tc divided by T into 100, or in other words you can say it is nothing but Ra plus Rb divided by Ra plus 2Rb into 100. Okay, and some of the duty cycle of the square wave is 50%. Whenever you are having the duty cycle of the square wave is 50%, that means that according to our equation number 4, the stable multivibrator will not produce a square wave output unless resistance Ra is equal to 0. Okay, 0 ohm. Okay, and whenever if you will make like that, there is a danger in shorting the resistance Ra to 0 with Ra is equal to 0 ohm. The terminal is connected directly to VCC. Then at the time the capacitor discharges through RB and Q1 pin number 7. An extra current is supplied to Q1 by VCC through a short between the terminal 7 and plus VCC, which may damage our transistor. Okay, and hence the timer also, and this is regarding a stable multivibrator, the 555 timer. So using a stable multivibrator we can calculate the percentage duty cycle also. Okay, this is the output voltage and capacitor voltage of the stable multivibrator. Thank you. That's all for today's class. Okay.